All right, aloha and welcome everyone. Happy to see all of you here again. We're going to go ahead and start. Just a reminder, could you please silence your cell phones? And then if you need to have a conversation with someone, we encourage you to have that outside in case other folks want to listen to what's going on. We have a number of announcements, but before we launch into our meeting, I saw Uncle. Uncle, can you guide us with a few words of wisdom tonight as our senior and our pule?
Thank you, my Lord. We thank you for this space and for bringing us here tonight. Lord, thank you that you have helped us and guided us throughout this endeavor, and we ask that you continue to help us and guide us. And Lord, thank you for the county leaders, that we could work with them and that they could provide to navigate our way and to give us guidance to our answers that we needed. Lord, we ask you to bless us this night, that we may be able to interact and exchange thoughts and get the right answers to our problems. We thank the Almighty God, and we ask that after this meeting, that you clean this room, oh Lord, clean this space, make it safe and healthy for the children and the faculty. Lord, go before us, guide our way, and return us home safely to our loved ones. We ask this in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Mahalo, Uncle. It's always grounding to start with that. So we appreciate that. Those who want to connect in faith, we have our table on that side. They raise a hand. Please stop by. They're there to help support you through faith at any time. Okay, I have a number of announcements before I give the mic over to Mayor. This can be a very difficult time for folks during the holidays. So as we've said before, please take care of yourself. No reason to hesitate. Use all the resources you can. We tell even our own people that. It's so important. Same thing like airplane. Put the oxygen mask on first. You can help others. So just make sure, do not hesitate at all. You can call 808-446-6676. And as always, we remind you, if you have an 808 area code, text 988 and connect with someone. Call 211. That service is still available. Tonight we have Joe Campos here from the State Department of Human Services to help with any questions. He'll be here again next week. But this is a program provided by the state of Hawaii to offer someone to help you navigate through that system. Bunch of announcements as usual. Please use the slides on mauirecovers.org to take a closer look. I see some of you take pictures and then zoom in, so whatever works for you to just see all this fine print. But coming up on Saturday, December 7th, there is this fabulous home inventory pricing party. I'm not sure what that is, but in person, you can go to our Office of Recovery at the Lahaina Gateway and be there or register for the Zoom link. You have two options, and it will give you a chance to be there in person or online with experts and other survivors for a workshop to price your contents and insurance funds that are owed to you. You know, like you hang on to something and you're like, this must be worth like $4 billion. You know, I'm sure it does. Well, they're going to share with you the information to help determine that. So please make use of that time. And it's brought to you by the United Policyholders, the nonprofit that we've been bringing before you over the last several months. If you enjoy bingo and you're a senior, please go to the Bingo Blast. I went to one. They're kind of aggressive, but good fun. You ever seen like seniors on Red Bull with a bingo ball? It's really scary. Get out of the way if they got to get the hinode rice, okay? So Tuesday, December 17th, 10 a.m., please join in on the fun. Tell others you know. You got to register. Just call 270-7308. That's the County of Maui's Human Concerns. Select option 3, and then let them know you're coming, just to make sure they have enough stuff for everyone. It's going to be at the Lahaina Civic Center Social Hall downstairs, okay? There will be on December 15 a reminder that the deadline is approaching. So December 15 is next week for the state's interim housing program. Here's the website. Please go there. Your application must be meeting that deadline. So, and to complete your existing application for processing is January 15. But next week is the deadline to submit your application, all right? So please be sure you get it. This is for all those homes, including the former Hagai Institute in Kihei and Kalai'ola. For more information, call 808-727-1550. So everyone's been saying, who is this Wendy Taumoro that her name keeps coming up to help with some issues in permitting? We want you to know that sometimes Wendy has to go vacation, or sometimes Wendy is out of office. Wendy also cannot help thousands of people all one time. So what we want to encourage you to do, because this email also reaches Wendy Taumoro. She's like our fabulous wizard that's been helping us solve some of the more difficult permitting issues. So if you need additional permitting assistance, you try first the regular route. It's too complicated, something not happening, the way you think it should. So you email Office of Recovery at mauicounty.gov. Office of Recovery at mauicounty.gov. I promise you, Wendy is in that stream of people, in that triage, all right? So please use that. Our team will take a look at all the requests and work with you, as we always have. So again, these are for the ones that are more complicated, complex, or encountering challenges, all right? After you have tried all the other routes. Office of Recovery at mauicounty.gov. Moving forward, as we've said since last month, next year, 2025, we will be focusing on the county's recovery plan. We announced it before, we shared it out, it's still online. Our team will be coming next week to give a little bit of insight on what that last round of community input was on the long-term recovery plan. There are 40 projects in that. Also, part of that effort is a master plan for Lahaina, the work on that's going to begin. So a lot of things in motion, but it's important that we focus on how that progress is. So next year's meeting, which by the way is several weeks from now, will be on the recovery plan, all right? So you're going to see the meetings just a little bit change in focus. We'll be going back to the monthly webinars for homeowners. A lot of you have homeowner questions. So our team from the Office of Recovery will go back. They took a little bit of a hiatus. They'll be bringing back the webinar for homeowners where we get a lot of presentations, a lot of questions, and then it's recorded and people can just go back and watch it and watch it and watch it all over again. All right, so a lot of things happening next year that are gonna feel a little different from the way we've been doing community meetings. By the way, this is our 42nd Lahaina community meeting. Oh, I've seen some of you 42 times plus, so always good to be among you. So tonight we're gonna talk about debris clearing. We're gonna get an update from Colonel here. The effervescent, smiling Colonel Jones. We're going to meet the team from the fabulous After the Fire, a national nonprofit who are here in Maui for the umpteenth time. They have been at our side. They're going to share a little bit about the things they do. They are a godsend for us and a great insight at a national level on our recovery efforts moving forward and the things we've been encountering. And of course, we'll be hearing from Maui Emergency Management Agency, the folks from MEMA, about access into the zones as well as evacuation planning, something that they've been talking about in the past. We wanted to bring them back and make them available to you again. Coming up next week. So next week will be our last community meeting for 2024. Going to give everybody a little bit of a holiday break, a lot of activities going on. But next week, we'll be having, at your request, We asked for DLNR to send their boating division to help answer the question. Uncle, I think you were the one that prompted that question about boats anchored offshore. I know there were some questions about the harbor, what's going on with it, the status. So they'll be here next week. They couldn't come tonight. We'll have our recovery plan team back to talk about the community feedback they got. And then your folks' favorite, Shane Ogawa, is coming back to give another wastewater system update. All right, so that's where we're headed for next week. And then after that, we'll see you in January 8th. I'm going to turn this over to Mayor Bisson at this time. Mayor? Still recovering?
I'm in recovery. Aloha, Lahaina, ohana. I saw from the advisory team, Kim Ball. I saw Earl Kukahiko. I saw Kaliko Storer, and I heard Laurie Lady Gama. So the team is here. 4 of the advisory team members are here. Thank you, folks, for always coming to these meetings. I wanted to comment on a couple of things and then make an introduction for you tonight. The bingo blast, in case you couldn't see the fine print, seniors are defined as anyone 55 years of age or older. Now, I know when you're 55, you don't consider yourself a senior unless you can come play bingo. Then you're like, hey, I qualify. They actually ID at those things in reverse. They like make sure you make the age that you're 55 before you can come into those events. It's going to be a great thing. So please, all of you who qualify, come to the bingo blast. I want to say something about Wendy Taumoro. She's not your first resort. She should be your last resort. I know her name comes up a lot. I meet with her all the time. She's got a lot on her plate. But just be clear, there are lots of other avenues to go to first. If you have a typical situation, you need an architect, you need something to do, don't call Wendy and say, Wendy, how do I get an architect? That's not what she's there for. When you've tried everything else and there's no other way to go, then please call her. But speaking of the Office of Recovery, I wanted to introduce someone to you. So he's going to start in his position on January 1st. We refer to him as the recovery manager, the recovery administrator. You'll hear him go by different terms. But his name is John Smith. John, that's a real name. That's his real name. It's not an alias. This is John Smith. You cannot miss him. He's the tallest guy in the room. John's been with the county for 13 years. He's been with the Department of Public Works. He is currently the highways manager. He started out here in Lahaina. A lot of you folks may know his story. But through a series of interviews, a process that he went through, he was selected and hired as the office recovery manager. So he's going to be in charge. But just so you know, you guys are familiar with John, who've been coming to the last 42 meetings. John has presented on a few occasions. He has been the infrastructure go-to person. He's the reason you folks have sewer and water and roads right now in Lahaina. He's been at these meetings. He started in the EOC on August 8th, and he hasn't left. And he's been on the front line. A lot of the federal guys know him because he's at the meetings. Their infrastructure group meet daily. They're meeting daily, not weekly, not monthly, daily, to get things back up and running. So he is the right person for the position. I'm going to turn it over to him to share a few words. But I just wanted to introduce him to you. So starting January 1st, he will no longer be our Highways Division supervisor. He will now be the manager of the Office of Recovery. This is John.
Thank you, Mayor. You did half of my speech for me, so thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really do thank the mayor because from the beginning, he's been super supportive of all the things that we've been doing with recovery and infrastructure and debris in particular. So it's been a great journey for me professionally and personally. I just want to talk a little bit about myself. I don't like to talk about myself, but I think it may be appropriate to know. I married a local girl. She's actually here. She can wave. Elizabeth. But and I have 2 boys that grew up here. We have lots of family on Maui, so I have that perspective, and it's been it's just great. I have the full support of my family to do this role. So there's that. There's the understanding that comes with running the debris operation and restoring infrastructure that probably wasn't appreciated maybe by Maui as a whole, from all the stuff that goes along with the federal things that are going on, all the stuff that goes along with the state, and then internally with the county. So I've had my lessons over the last 16 or so months, and have learned all the way along. So I'm really looking forward to stepping into this new role to help moving forward. So I think I'm ready. I think the timing is right. So I really appreciate the support, Mayor. And you guys are going to see me, so I can talk for a long time later. But I think it's also important to understand some of the local connection. I just made eye contact with Uncle Earl back there. So Uncle Earl and I have a history that goes back 13 years, because my very first assignment at the county was Lahaina. And it's really interesting that it's come full circle. I came here and they're like, hey, John, Lahaina is your district, because I'm a licensed professional engineer, right? So they're like, go work in Lahaina. So okay. So I walked into Lahaina, and the first person I saw was Uncle Earl, and he gave me a big hug. And I thought, what is this? But what I realized, it was aloha. And he taught me that, and it just sticks with me. So when the disaster happened and we had so many of our staff lost homes, and some of you are here tonight, there's just something in me that triggered, and I'm like, I have to help. So I think I took the highways thing as far as I could, and I'm ready to take the recovery thing as far as I can to help everybody in here. I'm ready to do it. I don't think I can answer all your questions tonight, but you can really hammer me come January 1st. Okay.
Thanks, John. I think that means hold off on your questions till January, is what he's saying. Now, he's here tonight if you have some questions. I wanted to introduce your council member, Councilmember Tamara Paulton, for her report. And her assistant.
Sometimes you just need a comfort animal. Aloha mai kako. It's been a couple weeks. I fully endorse John Smith. He's the best person for the job, and we'll be working together closely. I did want to say, your Maui County Council says they're prioritizing Lahaina, and I think that we all need to hold them to what they say, not just in their words, but also their actions. The administration pushed out 3 bills, went through the Planning Commission pretty quick, got referred to the Housing and Land Use Committee in the summer, and they were supposed to help with the rebuilding of Lahaina, non-conforming structures, the possibility of adding density through additional ADUs and kitchenettes. Not saying that I agree with all aspects of the bill. It does need a lot of discussion with the fire department to mitigate their concerns. The issue that I have with our council is it's been pretty much languishing in the Housing and Land Use Committee for the last 6 months. And it won't get another hearing until next year, depending on how the committees are set up, whose committee it goes to. On the flip side, The Wailea 670 luxury development just came out of the Planning Commission, went straight direct referral, got heard in committee. They did 3 marathon sessions. They're doing a special hearing, public hearing, concurrent with first reading. What I'm saying is we need that sense of urgency for Lahaina. You can tell where some of the members' priorities are by who they prioritize to agendize. She doesn't like it either. And you know, last night we lasted till 9 o'clock haggling over. They removed the condition that required 450 affordable homes. So I'm just one vote. I might need you guys' help. They have a public hearing December 13th. They're doing it concurrent with first reading. And, you know, just let them know your actions show your priorities. You're going to sit on bills that the administration rushed through, got it through the Planning Commission, delivered it to us. You didn't need to send that to council. You could have direct referred it like the luxury home bill, you know? So I'm just, I apologize on behalf of your council. Today, we heard about the fire code update, and that's another thing. I asked Chief Amos to come because I was getting a lot of questions about locked evacuation routes, gates on the evacuation routes and whatnot, and he generously said he'll come right away to the very next meeting. For the fire code, it's a national fire code that's updated every 3 years. And so it's the 2021 version, but first it gets adopted at the national level and then the state level. And then, at the national level and then the state level, and now it's down to the county level. So it's important that we adopt this code by the end of the year, or else we're not gonna be able to have the amendments in. I was a little bit concerned because part of it is that you can't have tree canopy within 5 feet of your roof. Vegetation, depending on the inches and feet, has to be so far from your house. But it wasn't really specific. And then when you start to drive around and you see how many trees are within 5 feet of roofs, and you know the cost in hiring a tree trimmer and whatnot, and then they said, well, you know, not all trees are a fire hazard, and you know they could clarify it some more. So as we talked it out in committee today, we thought that we would delay the enforcement of the tree and the vegetation portion, except for if it's an imminent hazard, and do a little bit more outreach and education. And that 3 months could give us a chance to refine the bill. Like if you have tea leaves all around your house, but there's no brown leaves, is that okay? You know, if you have Olena when it's just sprouting, is that okay? But you pull it out right when it dies because it's seasonal, those kind of things. But it is important for us to pass the bill by the end of the year to not have to pass the entire state version of the fire code. So we did request that the fire department make their rounds, and I asked if they could come to one of the Wednesday night community meetings to educate you more on the nuance. Another part of it was first and second dwellings used to be exempt from the fire code. They no longer want to do that, but they can do a geo-netting of an area to see if it meets the, geo-mapping or something of the, to see if it meets the water fire code requirements. And they did do that for the burn zone. So they said for the most part, Lahaina is good. And Four Leaf can do the fire review for the first and second dwellings that were previously exempt. So just a little bit update of things that we've been working on. And you can ask John Smith too about those 103, 104, and 105. I'm sure he has his own opinion that he can share.
Aloha, good evening. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm kind of keeping my distance from many tonight. So I have a quick update, but before I give my update, I realize I haven't publicly thanked a lot of the folks that work on the debris mission in a while. So, you know, from our contractors on these crews that call Maui home, our county partners, MEMA, John, our state partners, FEMA, our other federal agencies, made a lot of progress in the last several months, and I'm happy to announce we're down to 9 properties left that we have to clear, so you can count on 2 hands how many properties we have left to clear. And so I wanted to share that up front because it's not just a USACE you know, mission. It's everybody that's contributed, and then most importantly, coming to these community meetings, taking input, taking information. A lot of you guys are working on the debris mission in different capacities, and we couldn't do it without you as well. So looking forward to finishing strong over the next couple months so we clear those last 9 properties. So thank you. All right, so on our numbers, so we're at 139 out of 148 cleared, or little c, so that's 94%. We're currently on 505 Front Street. We're on the courthouse still. The shoring and bracing's coming along really well. Once the shoring and bracing's on, we'll start the debris removal process. It'll be a little tricky, so we have to get in there and make sure we do it safely and with respect to the building itself so it can remain preserved. And we've just recently moved over to the Seamen's Hospital as well. So once the shoring and bracing finishes up, likely this weekend on the courthouse, they'll move over to that crew will move over to the Seamen's Hospital and begin that property. And then that'll just leave one more property left to shore and brace, which is the Lahaina store, or the old Fleetwoods area. So making progress there, but it's going to take a little while longer. I did also want to announce, so the public right-of-way zones that we've been clearing, where there's been debris and the ash footprint in the public areas along the roads, we divided those up into 16 different zones, and we've been diligently working on those over the last several months. And so this last week, we finished clearing all 16 of the zones. So that's all the way from the Waikuli neighborhood as far north down to the Puamana area. So all those areas are clear. We'll continue to work with MEMA as we wrap that mission up. So thanks, Kano. All right, and so lastly, just on the sewer line, just have one quick update on that. We look to start potentially working next week. So that's good news, a little sooner than we thought we would as we were waiting on equipment. It'll start a little slower, but we'll be up to speed hopefully here in the next couple weeks to finish that sewer line that'll service Key Lahaina. So thanks for your patience. Mahalo. Congratulations.
Hi, how are you? Hi. Aloha. Oh, wow, okay. Sorry, that was very exciting. My name is Jennifer Gray Thompson, and I've actually met some of you, and am very happy to now, you know, she told me to do that. And it's very lovely to walk into a room like this and to see so many people that we've developed relationships with over the past year in particular, and to be welcomed with such an aloha spirit. And our work on Maui, and I'm going to tell you what we do, has been not only, I hope, beneficial for the recovery and the resiliency here, but also I need you to know that it's actually been really helpful for me and my leadership, and also the other communities that we serve across the country. And so you may not know at this stage that you are paying it forward, but you've already begun paying it forward to future fire-affected communities, and that's really the crux of what we do. So I run this nonprofit called After the Fire. Not hard to figure out what we do in that sense. We were born in 2017 in the midst of the terrible fires in the North Bay of San Francisco. They'd never seen mega fires like that before. We lost 8,900 structures, and we did, in 24 days, we lost 43 lives. And we did not know what to do. And, you know, FEMA was fine, I have no complaint. Bob Fenton is also our administrator, so all good there, but they had never seen this kind of mega fire before either. And so how do you walk through that when you don't have anyone to call for the details, and the details don't look like a wind and rain event? What do you do? And so that first year was incredibly difficult. I really wanted people to call And then 13 months the day later, we had the campfire in Paradise, and the Woolsey fire in Malibu. And I'd like to point out that the city manager from Malibu, former city manager Reva Feldman, is here with me on this delegation. And that's how we met. And I'm a little tired today. I'm going to tell you why, because it's a good reason in just a minute. Actually, if you're with my delegation, can you stand up? So what we do is that we do a few things. One of the things is we organize delegations of fire survivors and disaster survivors who get it. And they were leaders, and I recognize them as effective leaders. And then I ask them to come with me and to pay it forward, and they come most often on their own dime, because we are not a big organization, or their cities or organizations pay for them to come. I'm really proud that Paul Lowenthal is here with us today. He actually works closely with John. He is like a superhero in our town, and we live in the same county, in Sonoma County. He's got all this wonderful technical knowledge. This is his 6th or 7th trip to Maui. This is my 6th. This is his first with After the Fire. We're probably a little more touchy-feely than he's used to. We don't talk about sewer laterals or anything that much, but he's invaluable for the process. We have Tatiana Hernandez in the back, and Tatiana is the CEO of the Boulder Community Foundation from the Marshall Fire in 2021. And I like the fact that she knows how to serve the community in front of her, and she's fearless in that. Jen Cowish is over here. Jen is my partner in crime. In many ways, we go to D.C. a lot together, but also she's from the Marshall Fire. And she started as a concerned citizen. That's part of the theme that I want to bring to you today. And then now she is an elected, she was crazy enough to run for office locally. And so now she can go to the grocery store and hear everyone's concerns all the time. She's also a veteran, and she works at Boulder, at CU Boulder. Is that right? Did I say that right? And then I'm missing somebody. I did Reva. Oh, Jolie Wills actually is already gone, but Jolie came with us this time. Usually what we do is we talk to leaders and we figure out what you want at that time. We organize a delegation around that. Jolie Wills is with us, and she is a survivor from the Christchurch, New Zealand earthquake of 2011, and she actually developed this really great program to help sustain leaderships. Our primary goal at After the Fire is to help sustain and support local leaders. This work is so hard. Like, think about it. 42 meetings you guys have been to. You're getting up every single day, and you're living the reality of recovery from a mega fire, an unprecedented one, the worst in modern history. It's the most complicated one I've ever seen. And I've seen 18 counties in 4 states. And you're doing the work. And while you're in the middle of it, you don't always know that you're doing a good job, or you think about what's ahead of you and not what's behind you. And part of our work is to come and to give feedback that's honest, but also really encouraging to say, you are doing the work. You are doing a good job. This is hard, and we know because we've lived it, we've walked it, and we are either recovered or in the process of recovering. So I like to say that we bring hope, we bring skills, we bring people who understand, and we bring listening. Most fire, every fire is different. And it's a really, really important element is that we're also here to make sure that you don't feel like we are extracting from your community, that you know that we've walked it and lived it, and that we respect that you showed up to this meeting 42 times or however many times you did, and that you get up every day to take care of your families while you are navigating this. So I told you about that, the North Bay fires. Our mission statement, you can pull off of the website later, but if you get the idea, we do really 3 main things. We organize delegations. We provide a lot of support, peer-to-peer support. Oh.
For those online, we're just taking a momentary break while we deal with a medical emergency here. For those here, appreciate your calmness as we make our way through it and our firefighters offer assistance. For those in the room, if you want to we're going to take a little bit short break. Feel free to step aside, get some fresh air, let them do their work. Keep good thoughts on. Yeah. And then for those online, same thing. We're going to take a short 5-minute break. And then we'll be back on when it's appropriate.
Test 1, 2, 2. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make sure that there's ample room when the EMTs arrive. So if you are parked directly in front of the cafeteria, curbside, if you could please temporarily move your vehicle just so we make sure we have ample space for when they arrive. Specifically, if you're right here in front of the cafeteria in the area that they would likely stop. Mahalo.
Okay. Aloha, everyone. Please rejoin. We're going to get through what we can this evening. Mahalo for your time and patience as we make our way through that. We wish her the best as well and hopeful for her recovery. Thank you, everyone. Helion, back in. I'm going to turn this back over to Jennifer.
Okay, I'm actually only going to take about 120 seconds more of your time because you're really here to learn about how to rebuild your home more than my nonprofit. Really quickly, here's the flash forward. This is what we do. We're here. These are things we do. This is us in Maui. I'm on the news often to stand up for you. We do a lot of legislation. I kind of want to stop here for just a second to tell you something that we had a big win today, and it affects you, and it's a problem you didn't even know that you had yet. And we've been working on it for 39 months. So until today, when the Senate finally passed it and President Biden will sign it into law within 10 days, any settlement that you received would have been counted as personal income tax. Yes, and you are not allowed to deduct your attorney's fees. So 39 months ago, we took this to Congressman Thompson. And since then, we've been to D.C., I don't even know, maybe 12, 15 times, and we have been fierce for fire survivors. And as of today, at about 4 o'clock, that changed. So I'm going to go cry and drink after this. And I just wanted to point out this last thing, that we were very honored to have about 30 leaders from Maui come to our summit this year and really to provide support. And one thing I'm going to close with this is, you know, it was 2.5 days. It's all online if you want to watch it on YouTube. And there was this moment, we really did focus on Maui a lot. And the mayor actually said to me, gosh, really privately, you know, he's like, Jen, do you think that there was too much like Hawaii in there? And I said, oh no, that wasn't for you. Like, because what it was that all the other mega fire communities that we serve, we all come together once a year. And I wanted them to know more about aloha and aina and some of the qualities that you have brought into my life and some of the names and prayers and songs that you have given to fire survivors and how moving and touching and important that has been to their healing and my leadership, and I'm always healing too. And so I just want to thank you for allowing us into your community. It matters. You will recover. You will rebuild. And you can reimagine. And thank you for having me.
Aloha mai kako. So, you want to fire them? So, Amos Lono Kailo here. I am the Maui Emergency Management Agency Administrator. Wanted to give you guys a kind of an update on evacuation planning. I know there are some concerns with some areas in Lahaina. Let me try and address some of them for you in a kind of the general plan, kind of let you know what we're doing in evacuation management. Evacuation planning, excuse me. So I've been talking about this since the summer, I believe, that we're going to find a evacuation software that helps to expedite evacuation and message the community quicker. We want to be able to provide a public-facing page that you can access anywhere in the world. If you got a computer, power, you can look at what's happening, even though if you're not here or you're at Costco, you can look at what's going on in your residential area. We are looking at being able to share real-time information with all of you in an evacuation setting. So it took us to the purchase and procurement of Genesis Evac. We finally was able to procure it, and we're going through this process. So we had a kickoff meeting for Maui. Molokai and Lanai are going through their kickoff meetings real soon, And basic kickoff meeting, just introducing the software to the partners and going back and forth with the partners to have any questions on what what the software can do, the program can do, and how we do it. So what happens is Genesis, they have an algorithm that they follow. They take our landscape, they take all of our GIS layers, vehicles and houses and so on and so forth. And they also, in their algorithm, they also have data on historical emergencies, historical fires. So they run our community through an algorithm that takes about 2 weeks. And that algorithm produces zones. So what happens is then that algorithm comes back to us, the zone layouts come back to us. We as a county look at the zones. Some of it, we know that this is a gated exit, or this road doesn't connect to anything, so on and so forth. So we revise, we look at that, we review it, we confirm it, which is what's going on right now. And then what follows is partner training. And so we're going through this partner training soon, hopefully beginning next week. We'll go through the training with fire, police, all of our response partners, and figure out how this software will be working real time. Then there's an education campaign of some sort that follows for all of you on how you know your zone, how you find the app, so on and so forth. So that plan on education is working out as well. And then hopefully, if all of those things works itself out, the goal has been early January for it to go online. And so we are trying really, really hard to get it to you because we've been talking about it for a long time. And I know evacuation has been a point of angst for all of you, and we want to be able to fix that for you. So some of the plans that are coming with the evacuation planning, the evacuation management. The plan is for us, because included in this software is our ability to model communities, and I've spoken on this before. What that allows me to do, it allows me to create any scenario, or just model our entire county and identify what those evacuation challenges will be in a scientific matter, not in just my opinion of something. We can run whatever scenario we want. We can take away a bridge, we can put a power line, we can close a road, we can cause a landslide, we can do whatever we want to do. We can add, like we did, we exercised the Maui Invitational Tournament where we added certain amount of vehicles and or people in one location, and we exercised evacuating the Maui Invitational if there was a tsunami or a wildfire. So we can use the software for any situation to help us in the planning phases of evacuation for all of you, as well as in the response phases as well. So another critical component to evacuation is how we receive the information from the incident itself. The most critical way that we receive the information and the most accurate is from Unified Command at the incident itself. So Unified Command will come in the form of, majority of the time, it will be police and fire. And so the coordination of how we get that information from police and fire on the situation and the threat and the impact is what drives us to notify the zones that there's a fire here and you are in a ready posture, a set posture, or a go posture. And you'll be able to see that, and you'll get notifications of those things. So that's a really, really critical response piece that also we've been working really hard with fire and police to resolve. How do we get those people on the ground quick, get them in a unified command structure where that information comes back to me, and we run the keyboard and we make sure that everybody's notified real time. So I just want to know that fire and police and MEMA are working on this kind of a unified command development piece that really we haven't ever done before. And so everybody is understanding, all the response agents understand that you need to be notified, you need to have information, if we need to evacuate, we want to get that information to you as quickly as possible. I know that there was a question. I just answered this one, and I'm sure there's going to be more later on, but I know there was a question about Hakau exit. And I just wanted to let you know, I know the gate is closed. The code is with 911. All the response partners will have that code. We'll be able to access that code. And if there's evacuation that needs to happen on North Hakau, that's going to happen as soon as a unit gets there. Now, what happens in evacuation, in the coordination of evacuation, if everybody's going to be sent in a certain location, the police department is going to look and open any road, any exit that is available to them, and they will facilitate the evacuation of all of you. So that's all I have tonight. I'll probably answer some questions about evacuation later, but that's all I have. Right now, what I want to do is I just want to turn over the mic to my ops chief, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, but he's been handling all of Lahaina operations for MEMA, so I'll let him talk about the opening plan.
That's one smart bugger. Hard act to follow, for sure. Hello, Micah Cole. Good to see everybody here tonight. Good to see familiar faces. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Kono Davis. Yes? Oh, they're talking story outside. Anyways, my name is Kono Davis. I work for Maui Emergency Management Agency. As Chief Lonokai Luit said, I am the Operation Coordination Section Chief for MEMA. I also retired from the fire department, retired here as a captain in Lahaina. I live in Lahaina. I love this community and I love the people in it. My heart is in it for good reasons. Shortly after I retired, I went into real estate. Wasn't really my bag. Coming from a public servant job for 32 years and going into real estate, you can kind of paint that picture. August 8th, I was trapped on the other side. My family was on this side. As you all know, no connectivity. I was stuck on the other side. I didn't know my family's fate. I knew what was going on because I still had communication with the fire department. And luckily I did. I was able to get in at 3 a.m. And to my pleasant surprise, my family was safe at home. My home did not get affected. So immediately after that, I put the real estate to the side and I started to help in various ways. One of them was Pono Legal. I saw someone here. If you're here, raise your hand. Yes. So Heidi Ho, who is the founder of Pono Legal, she is my classmate, and we kind of collaborated. She asked me for some help. I did other various kokua projects. And then in February of this year, Chief Lonokailua Hewitt called me and asked me if I wanted to come to MEMA. And I didn't know if I could make it work, you know, with my schedule and my children, but I said yes, and I'm glad I did. The work here needs to be done, and it needs to be done right, and we have a really good leader to direct us. You should be very, very pleased and safe. With that said, I am here to talk about zone reopening. You know, I know that we've opened a lot of zones already, and maybe not everybody knows the process. Maybe you do, but I'm gonna kind of touch on it a little bit. You know, like Lieutenant Colonel said earlier, it is a collaborative effort. It's not just USACE, it's not just a Department of Public Works, it's not just MEMA, it's not MPD. We all get together. There's a debris removal meeting every Wednesdays. Infrastructure meeting still going on Tuesdays. You know, so there's all this coordination pieces happening in real time on progress. And then MEMA will come in and identify progress by either speaking with USACE or speaking, getting information from the debris removal meeting, or driving, or a combination of everything, driving through the zones and seeing progress. And then we start to invite other partners in, because the first thing we need to do is we got to remove the hazard, right? So we remove the hazard, they do the soil testing, we get that from Lieutenant Colonel Jones and his team, and then we start to send out messaging to various departments, including private, like Hawaiian Electric Company, the gas company, because everybody has their hand in our community, right? Our infrastructure depends on a lot of people, not just one department. So we do some coordination shortly after the hazard is removed and the testing is complete. And sometimes we have nobody that needs to do anything in the zone, so we can open the zone right away. Or sometimes there's going to need to be some safety concerns that needs to be taken care of. I am not the expert in any of those safety concerns. I am just a coordination piece that coordinates everyone. Once we have an okay from everybody, then what I'll do is I'll contact county comms and we'll let them know the plan and where we're at so that they can notify you all. And what they normally like to do is they like to put out a press release and have it mentioned at a community meeting prior to opening. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but that's how they want it to happen most of the time. That's all I have for now. I see Kimball over there. I just want to let you know we're working on the access to Baby Beach. We may have to move a checkpoint or so, but noted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Both Kono and Chief Amos. I don't know if you know, but Amos is a former fire battalion chief. So it's good to always have firefighters in the house when we have a need for that. At this time, we're going to take questions, but we do have Joe Campos here. And he, as gracious as he is, flies to Maui and makes himself available. And we try to take the questions for him first so that he can heli on back over to the airport. Because as he explained before, he's working as a deputy director, working on finishing his law degree, and then helping Lahaina. So a lot of things going on. But are there any questions for Joe Campos? Oh, look him, he all relieved. Okay, very good. You will be back next week if there are continuing questions? Okay. Thank you again, Joe. Appreciate it. I'm sure he'll always be here for us. All right. We're going to go ahead and take questions. Kim, for Joe? Oh, Joe. Oh, shucks. Okay, he's in the dark, but he's coming back. Oh, he thought it was, okay, Kim, go ahead, your question.
For the Hawaii Interim Housing Program, my son who teaches math at this school applied, and he was awarded a place in Kihei, which of course he doesn't want. Can he reapply again?
Yeah, no, so he won't have to reapply. What he should do is let them know, so kind of go through an extenuating circumstance reconsideration. That's basically what it's called. Because he teaches here, that is one of the kind of reasons why you could have an extenuating circumstance waiver from, I believe he was awarded Hale Olaie, the
Yes.
Old Hagai Institute. Yeah, so have him just reach out to HIP, let them know that he's a teacher in Lahaina and would prefer to be at Kalaiola. And then we can see how that goes through the process.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I heard some other.
No, you just go on a list after you say that I would not want to stay in Kihei and you want to stay back in Lahaina, and then you are placed on a list. Now, I don't know what that list is, but that's what I was also explained.
Okay, so if it's through the extenuating circumstance, what you are put on a list because we're still building Kalaiola, right? So we have a list of about 100 and, trying to do the calculation in my head, 190 minus 56, so that's 144? No, that's, anyway,
yeah,
right, around that. And so sad, yeah, I get my law degree in 2 weeks. So clearly I'm not doing tax law. But anyway, so we have still people waiting to be placed. So that might be the list that you're on. Did you get notification that you were cleared with the extenuating circumstance?
Well, I passed a background check, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, no. So you passed the background check. You were notified that you qualified for HIP, Hawaii
Yes.
Interim Housing Program.
Well, interesting enough that they just told me that I'm not eligible because I suddenly am qualified for FEMA,
Okay.
which is another back and forth. I don't want to get into it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So this goes to the conversation we had, I believe, 3 weeks ago, right, when I was last here. So we need to have a conversation. My email, you can send me an email, jcampos, C-A-M as in Mary, P-O, S as in Sam, at dhs.hawaii.gov. Okay. Or you can just look on the DHS website, Department of Human Services. You'll see my face, and you'll see my contact info if you can't remember, the information I just gave you. Huh?
Mahalo.
Or, okay. I don't know. Maka is saying call Mahina. So I don't know if she
Mahina.
agrees with that. But so anyway, reach out to me. Let me know your situation, and just say, hey, Joe, talk to you at the Civic Center. Or sorry, no, we're not. We're at Intermediate.
Lahaina
Yeah,
Intermediate.
Lahaina Intermediate. So, or elementary. Where are we at? Okay, good. But anyway, so just reach out, and then we'll try to help you figure that out.
Mahalo.
Okay? Yeah, so it's J for Joseph, Campos, C-A-M as in Mary, P-O-S as in Sam, at dhs.hawaii spelled out, .gov, G-O-V. Okay, and then I'll forward it on to the right people and I'll keep an eye on it. Okay, anything else? All right, very good.
All right, walk slow in case someone else thinks of something. All right, thank you very much, Joe. So we have 4-Leaf, we have Army Corps of Engineers, we have FEMA, we have our team here from MEMA, we have a whole bunch of other folks splattered around, I know, I can see. So please raise your hand, and we're taking questions from online as well as best we can. So I see a hand raised there. We'll go to, gentlemen, go ahead.
Hello. I have a quick one and a long one. The first one is, can we get someone from the post office to come here and explain kind of what's been going on? We've been struggling with the postmaster. We've reached out to Honolulu and talked to the manager of post office operations. But what are we doing with mail delivery? Why is forwarding the way it is? And also cluster boxes, and what is mail delivery going to look like? So if we could maybe do that. And then my long one is, I didn't see anyone from planning here. But I'm from Puamana. We have the emergency proclamation from the governor expiring Saturday, and we don't know what's going on with our multifamily homes. So I've reached out many times. I've copied the mayor's office. I've sent a note to the governor. And so, Saturday's the deadline. So where are we with that?
We do not have, the planning director could not be here this evening. Usually Director Blystone is here. So we will, it looks like Mayor wants to address your question. Mayor?
The governor is going to extend the emergency proclamation.
Oh, thank you very much.
I don't know what is going to go in it. Usually with each version, a little bit is taken out that's no longer needed, and some can be added. We've asked for a couple of things from the county side, but he is extending it.
All right, great. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that question. I see a question in the back, and then I see Jeremy weighing that in, and then we'll go to a couple of online questions. Go ahead.
Hi, aloha everyone. My name is Joyce Tyra. I was born and raised here in Lahaina, graduated from Lahaina Luna. Both my childhood home and my grandparents' home were destroyed in the Lahaina wildfires. This property has been in my family for about 100 years. Like many of you, I signed up for debris removal. And in its initial attempt to begin debris removal, significant damage was done to my driveway. This isn't an ordinary driveway. This is a 200-foot it's 200 feet long. It's not a 10 or 20 feet. It's 200 feet long. It's concrete. There are ribbons, concrete ribbons all the way down, and it was built just about 5 years before the wildfires. I have been in communication with FEMA, Army Corps of Engineers, and ECC, which is a subcontractor. ECC is offering to repair some of the damages, but not all. My concern is that they're not going to financially compensate for the damages, nor are they willing to fix all of the damages that they caused. Specifically, they are excluding the most extensive damages, which is 133 feet, approximately 2/3 of my 200-foot-long driveway. This isn't a one-off crack. It is continuous damage down 133 feet down both concrete ribbons. I am curious if any other folks in the community are dealing with similar issues whereby their property may have incurred significant damage. I am wondering what my recourse is. How am I to be made whole if ECC is not willing to repair and/or compensate? What is my recourse to have my driveway returned to the same condition the morning before they attempted to do debris removal? And also, if there's anyone going through a similar situation, I'd love to speak with you after the meeting.
So we have addressed that issue with Army Corps in another incident. Colonel, would you like to address debris clearing damage?
Aloha, Joyce. So we continue to talk weekly and make inroads on trying to make reparations where they're deemed appropriate. So we've met on your site before, last week before Thanksgiving. You shared your story with us. The team, we had the FEMA team there as well as the contractor. At this time, we're willing to repair the curb in the wall as we discussed on the phone yesterday, I believe, and then the FEMA legal team is looking at your driveway claim at this point. However, that's where we're at. Now, I'm continually committed, as I've told you, to stay on this. It's my personal mission, and like I said, you may not get the answer you want, but you have my commitment that I'm going to take this as far as I can take it for you.
Thank you. And I'm sure, Joyce, you'll be here after if someone wants to connect with you. I know you had your hand up. Yeah, Morris, Jeremy. And then while you're walking over there, I'm going to read these two online questions because the answers will have to come later. So the two online questions are, one, since the skate park, pool, and recreation center are now open, any plans to have the Maui bus stop there? Great question. We will check with our Department of Transportation on their bus routes and see what that looks like and get back to you next week on that question. The second one is wastewater related. Shane Nagawa, the Director of Environmental Management, will be here next week, so he can also address this then. But the question is, can we rebuild even though our section is in red? And if so, what happens if the wastewater pipe under our property is deemed beyond repair? What happens to our rebuild? So we'll have both a response from planning as well as the environmental management director. Morris, go ahead with the question on that side. Jeremy?
I haven't seen you guys in a hot minute, so I get plenty questions for you guys. Okay. So Mayor, wherever you stay, it's not just one more. I'm just letting you know ahead of time, it's a lot. Okay, so first thing, this is not an attack on any of the residents or the homeowners, but what is being done to enforce illegal builds. So 4 months ago in Waiikuli, there was about 27 builds happening. And at that time, there was only 4 permits for Waiikuli. So we're still battling that issue. In addition to that issue, who is monitoring impermeable surfaces? So county code says 65% of your property can be covered. And I see 3 properties right now. It's 100%, 2 properties that is 100% covered with cement. Second property is well over 80% coverage. Now county code also says you cannot have 2 driveways within 40 feet of each other. There's a house being built in my neighborhood where there's 2 driveways going up right now. So I know I was told 4-Leaf is not in charge of impermeable surface and or driveways and stuff like that. They're just there for the build to make sure the structure is okay and following through. So who is dealing with that? What is the status on MECO and getting power to our neighborhoods? We're going to build up. So I been asked this long ago, why is MECO not at the table at this meeting with us? And I haven't been here for a while, so I don't know if they have come. But where is MECO? We can build all these houses. We just didn't put up one house in 3 days. What the homeowner going to do? Generator for the next year and a half, 2 years. So where is MECO in all of this? In addition with that question, if MECO was to put in power lines, we could have lighting. Because the theft right now in Waiikuli, and I'm just speaking for Waiikuli, I know Puamana is happening. I know Lahaina Luna, the day they opened up Lahaina Luna, that night had thefts. So just speaking for my neighborhood, I lost property. Somebody came in on my property and stole some equipment. We lost a trailer. Luckily, we recovered the trailer, but there is wide theft going on in Waiikuli. So where's the power? Where's our lights at? Something just to deter theft. My last one goes to kind of in line with what Joyce was asking about. So this is for all you homeowners. What happens when they go to rebuild and they find that material was left behind? What FEMA had told me was they don't have funding to remove it. Why is that my fault? The cleanup process was stated, anything under the footprint of your house will be removed, and they will test up to 12 inches. I just found my footing that is underneath my property, the footprint of my house is still there. And all FEMA could say was, we don't have the budget for that. So what about all these homeowners here that when they go to rebuild and they find a footing, concrete blocks, something underneath, now they have to burden that cost. The ROE was done so that they could remove all of this material. So what is going to happen then? So I just trying to ask that question for all of my community members here that lost their houses. Thank you.
Fair enough. Let me see if FEMA has a response. I can give a little bit of shed light on MECO, and then we'll turn over to, they're going to junk in, streetlights. Okay, John, pre his time, but because he's infrastructure branch, he's going to help with that.
Okay, so I'll just answer the infrastructure question. So we've been working with HECO. I literally just got an update for the streetlights. So they are going to start restoring streetlights. They have a 6 to 8 week schedule because of the build out of the lines to the streetlights, but you will start seeing them within 6 to 8 weeks. That's the current, I just literally just got that. The power? What? Oh, the MECO power is there. They just need to bring the well, the 6 to 8 weeks. The 6 to 8 weeks is to include them bringing that power. That's what I just told me.
All right. Okay, thank you for the MECO thing. FEMA, I saw FEMA. FEMA, would you like to respond to that question? Oh, okay. Okay. Is it? All right, you guys can jump in, Poe. Okay, Colonel.
I haven't met you in person yet, Jeremy. I know the team, the FEMA team, and our debris mission manager, Alex, met you on your property and agreed to remove the footer. So I'll meet with you after this, because I think we were waiting on just a final decision on how you wanted that done. So.
I am waiting on the insurance company, and we all know how they work, but yeah. I'm more concerned for my fellow community members. What if they have it?
Okay.
When FEMA outright tells me we don't have funding for that, what if our community members don't start building for another year or two?
Jeremy, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Morris, can we get him the mic, please? Because all the people online cannot hear anything.
Yeah, they should open their ears. I'm just concerned for my community members. If they do not build within a year or two, and then FEMA is done, and they're telling us there is no money, then how do they address this situation when they go to rebuild? That's really what I'm concerned about.
I'll pass the FEMA. We still have our team here, and we did two or three site visits today. I think Tony did with the team, and so if there are issues out there, we want to come see it, check it out, and see what the recourse can be. So I'll meet with you after, though, Jeremy. Thank you.
I don't have much to speak to that, but I will take that concern back and come back next week and give everyone here an answer. So thank you. Can't hear me? Oh, okay. I was just saying I'm taking your concern. I will come back next week and give you an answer. I don't have an answer right now to answer that question. But thank you. We'll work together on that.
Hi, as a resident that lives down in the Shark Pit area, this question is about security down there. We've been there for, gosh, about 7 months now, and we're rebuilding. But there has been a lot of people roaming into that neighborhood late at night. There's been theft down there. As a homeowner, we're there for that reason, to protect our stuff. And I highly suggest, if you are going to build, that you be on property. We have caught a few people the other night that was down there. We handled it, and then we called the cops. But I would really like to see more security presence, more police presence down in there, especially when more people are starting to rebuild. The theft is a big issue for the homeowners, and it's stressful. You don't sleep at night when you're up all night watching.
Thank you. We will raise that with Maui Police Department. They've been very honest with us with, I think, 4 officers covering, West Maui. It's been a little bit of a challenge at certain times, but we will underscore that again, that needs to happen, as often as they can, with a presence there in town going through. Morris, you're headed to somebody. Oh, okay, go ahead. Sorry, tonight we just have Morris running back and forth. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thank you. So my first questions are for FEMA. Some Kilohana folks have asked about trash pickup. Nobody knows when trash is supposed to get picked up. They got full trash bins. We need some info there. But also, they're wondering about these notices and how they're going to be sent, because they still don't have those mailboxes working there, and then they just want to know where to be looking. So those are my FEMA questions.
Can I get FEMA to grab a seat up front so that you're accessible? Yeah. Can I get a FEMA to stay up front so you can help with questions regularly? You all can junk and pull. All 100 of you can come up. Okay, here's one. Very difficult to figure out who answers which question. All right.
So in terms of, sorry, can you hear me okay? Okay. In terms of the notices for the households of the Kilohana group site, when it's time for the notices for rent collection, we can hand deliver those to those households. And then the other question was about trash pickup. It's on Thursdays, but the recertification advisors will communicate that to the households. But trash pickup
well,
for
they
those.
haven't, so I just wanted to make sure you know that. But the notices, isn't it 90 days? Aren't we 90 days out?
Well, they just got licensed in, so yeah, we do communicate that to households, but they just got licensed in, so they just got their recertification advisors, and we'll be hand delivering those notices to them.
Okay. One is more of a comment. The DCMP, I continue to be told that all the DCMs have the resource list, but I continue to hear firsthand accounts about DCMs asking other organizations for help with navigation. So there is a gap that needs to be addressed, whether or not anyone believes that. I don't need a response, I just need you to know that. My other one is just for you, I guess, Mahina. The Miko thing that Jeremy asked, like I asked that a few weeks ago too, and I'm just wondering, is there a list of questions that are not getting answered that someone is tracking and looking at? Because we need that. Nobody has the bandwidth to follow up on all these questions, and so we hope that you would do so as the county.
Of course. So DCM, I know I saw her. Oh, okay. Oh. Are you guys deciding who? All right. Come on up so we can have you help us answer. While you're walking up, let me answer the Miko question. So we have been working with them on infrastructure, as John Smith said on that part. I recently spoke to their folks a couple weeks ago to ask if they can offer, an opportunity through a community meeting. They're open to it because I think there could be a lot of questions. I don't know, we only get like a splattering of questions. They want to encourage folks to continue with your service requests, for one. I can follow up and get back next week if they're going to hold their own community meeting. They have been attending the homeowners meeting, but we've been in hiatus, the homeowners webinar, but we've been in hiatus on that for a couple of months. I don't know if that's the absence also. So, Jackie, let me get that for you folks next week. Go ahead on the DCM question.
Aloha, Jackie. Could you please repeat the question just so I'm clear with that? Oh, I got your microphone. How good is that?
Here, and then you can.
Well, that's why I said it was more of a comment, because I'm not expecting an answer. I'm just trying to get through the message that although those in charge of the disaster case management program believe that all the disaster case managers have that resource list that we have discussed, there are still disaster case managers seeking help with navigation from other organizations, which means they don't have that resource list. So maybe there needs to be a retraining. I don't know what it is, but this is happening. So I'm going to continue to tell you.
Okay, thank you. So for those that don't know me, my name is Paulo Filifini. I'm the resource coordinator for the disaster case management program with St. Vincent de Paul. St. Vincent de Paul is hired by the Department of Human Services to manage the disaster case management program and then hires 8 other organizations to fulfill the roles of the disaster case managers, the outreach case navigators, etc. Pertaining to resource lists, we receive our resource list from our FEMA VAL counterparts, and that same list was distributed out to LTRG and other orgs that have that relationship with FEMA. Pertaining to our DCMs having that list, they all have access to that list via the internal system, which is called VisionLink. Yeah. However, that list is not the be-all, end-all when it comes to organizations that provide services that are not on the list. For example, the Episcopal Diocese of Hawaii are offering a service. And so when we find out these things, that's when we'll jump in to understand what that service is, put them into that system so that disaster case managers can then access and apply it toward the survivors. So our case managers, they're 100 plus more than me, and if there are unmet needs in the community, they're going to work their hardest to reach out to their networks as well, and that's where we all communicate weekly to tie that back in so we can continue the service as best possible. So it is never a static list. It is always growing, and so that's where every day the landscape is shifting. So I hope that helps answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for confirming that process. Go ahead. Oh, Tamara. Go ahead, council member.
Oh, I'm the next question. This question, I guess, would be for FEMA and DCMP a little bit. A lot of people are concerned about when they have to start paying their rent. And we were here when Bob Fenton said it won't be more than 30% of your income. I don't think that message has circulated widely within our community, because I'm constantly getting told I'm on SSI, or I don't even make as much as they're trying to charge me for rent. So when he said that, he didn't say like, okay, I don't make as much as they want to charge me for rent, but then how do you get it to be 30% of the income? And then when I say, oh, well, try call 211 and ask your DCM, I think it's important that the DCM knows how to walk a person through the process to say that the rent will be 30% of their income, especially if they're on SSI or disability or whatever it is. Because like, I heard that loud and clear, that Bob Fenton said it shouldn't be more than 30% of your income. But the hundreds of people that asked me didn't hear it. And then once they hear it, they're like, well, how does that work where it's not more than 30% of my income? So how does that work? And please be sure to let all the DCM know how to make that happen, so that when we're referring folks to the DCM to make sure that they don't have to pay more than 30% of their income, they can assist folks with that process.
So before I turn over to FEMA, a question that I will ask our DCM folks is, can you make that a deliberate talking point for your DCM staff about the 30% on the income? It sounds like it's absent on standardized talking points. Is that possible? And then we'll go ahead and have. Oh, the answer is yes. Thank you, Malia. She can shout it from across. So the ask and the answer of yes is that DCM will be able to insert a deliberate talking point right out of the gate, that 30% of your income. Thank you, Councilmember Paulton. FEMA?
Hi, and I just wanted to encourage people. So the 90-day notices that went out has the 100% of the FMR amount on there, but it does also talk about rent reduction. And the recertification advisors will talk to households about what documentation is required in order to for us to look at that rent reduction. And as well, we're talking about it during the recertification interviews every month. And we always encourage households to, if they have questions, to contact their recertification advisors with those questions, and we can explain the process to them and what documentation they have that they can provide to us to show those income levels and do that rent reduction calculation. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We're going to take another question. Our team will be here, as we always do, hang out and help with one-on-ones, but okay, we have a question in the front. Go ahead.
Aloha. Senator Brian Schatz has been advocating for more funding for Lahaina very strongly. My question is, if and when that funding does come in, where does it go, who does it go to, and who's in charge of it?
So this is the what we refer to as CDBG-DR, Community Development Block Grant, specific to disaster recovery. It is going to fall under the Office of Recovery, and maybe one day you'll get to meet the manager of that program, Patience Kahula. But John looks really eager to share something. Oh, go ahead. Either one. Okay, you can jump in with the mayor, but you might lose.
No, thank you for that question. We're really looking forward to that announcement soon from Senator Schatz. I know that Mayor's been talking to him recently, and he can give you more details if he wants to. But that program, when it comes in, will come directly to the county, most likely, and then it'll be managed through our disaster relief director, which is going to be Patience, and we'll get her out here soon too.
What organizations are handling that money?
County.
Just county, okay. Not FEMA? No, okay.
It's direct from HUD to
Okay.
county.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My other question was for Army Corps. I was going to ask about when is the projected date to be finished with the debris removal in Lahaina?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're getting closer. I would project the commercial debris to be completed By mid-February, so the contractor has until the 28th of February on their current contract. So we think we'll get close to either 100% or 99% by then, and there may be one property, as is usually the case, one or a small handful of properties that may go into a longer process before the debris removal can continue and progress. So we have only one of those properties we've identified right now, and it's the Baldwin House. So we're working with the Lahaina Restoration Foundation and with them in FEMA, in conjunction with FEMA, on what their options are. So once they have made a decision on which routes they want to go, then we'll support. But that's the one property that will likely fall outside of the February timeframe. But everything else should be completed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So following with that, with MEMA, the checkpoints, are they going to continue while you're still doing debris removal on Front Street through January, more possibly February?
Good question. So like I explained earlier, you know, there's a bunch of components, not just debris removal, that goes into the factoring of keeping an area secure. The public safety risk is our top priority, right? So there's other factors from other departments, such as roads, and if there is any type of trip hazards, fall hazards. So Front Street has a seawall that some of you may or may not know that the railing has degraded from the fire and it's almost no longer there. So if we open up Front Street, that's a significant hazard. And so there may be an extension. We're trying to hopefully meet that deadline so that we could at least reduce the checkpoints. But right now, the plan relies on when the debris removal will be complete. And we're already in the process of talking about the other departments and what it'll take for them to bring all of their requirements up to par. So the commercial bubble, if you don't know what that is everything from Shaw Street to Kainui Street, Makai of the highway. That is the only secure area right now from all the secured areas that we had from the fire. We call it the commercial bubble because there's predominantly commercial properties in that space. We have two different paths right now because we're unsure of when debris removal and shoring is going to be complete, as well as there's Lahaina Harbor in that space. And so there's a lot of work that still needs to be done at Lahaina Harbor. So there's two paths that we're looking at right now in planning process is do we just eliminate at one time the checkpoints and open up everything, or do we do a reduction and get rid of, say, half of the checkpoints? We're currently working through that process right now.
It sounds like it's still kind of a hazardous situation on Front Street, is it not?
There's several different hazards, yes, you're correct.
So not really ready for tourism, correct?
It shouldn't be, tourism or residents.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess my question would be a follow-up question from 2 weeks ago. What is the plan for Lahaina when they do open those checkpoints? And hopefully some of those hazards may or may not be completed.
So we will take a really good look at what those hazards are, and we will definitely not open up areas that is going to pose a hazard to our community and or the tourism industry.
Well, we still obviously have some issues with theft and people coming up in the night. I spoke to one of the checkpoint people on Kainui and Front Street. He was telling me that a group came in from the Catholic Church and said that Maria Lanakila is supposed to open on December 11th. Does anybody know any truth about that?
So some of it, the plan has been brought to our attention. We are in the process of figuring out what that would look like as far as limiting the amount of access into the burn zone. So right now, the plan is to enter on Dickinson, move the checkpoint that is at Dickinson and the highway down, further down the street, so that the entrance and the exit is off of Dickinson. There is some hazards still there that we need to address before that can happen, but we're trying to accommodate Maria Lanakila for their, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's on the 11th.
Right,
The Wednesday, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we still have a long way to go, but there still seems to be some people guiding visitors, like a certain realtor that Lori had pointed out, you know, to come into the burn zone, go see the banyan tree, and again, facilities, restrooms, are we going to just open up afterwards? Or, you know, I'm just concerned because it feels like there's a lot more money going into the banyan tree than it is going into the people of Lahaina. And I just am concerned about, I mean, Uncle was in tears the last meeting. It made me cry because I feel like a lot of our concerns are still not really being addressed, and obviously the theft is still a problem.
Yeah, I cannot speak on behalf of law enforcement and MPD. What I do know from hearing from the partners during the debris removal and because MPD is part of the coordination piece, is that they haven't had much reports on theft. And so if you are experiencing theft, please make a police report. And I know, you know, I heard the stories, you know, by the time they get here, they can't do anything. But if you don't make a report, then it almost like it didn't happen. And if we can inundate the report cache with multiple reports, that will drive the secure, it's patrol, but it's kind of hard to call it patrol when they have a reduction in staff right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to let Mayor close out this evening's meeting. Mayor?
So at a time like this, there are a lot of opportunists that come out. People who try to make money off of folks who are going through tragedy. People who commit theft. I just want to be real clear on something, and if you don't know this already, I'll just share it. I was a prosecutor for 15 years. 8 of those years, I was your county prosecutor. I was a criminal judge for 17 years. I've seen a lot of stuff happen in our community over all those years. And what I can tell you right now for sure, the person to blame for the theft is the person who's doing the stealing. It's not the lights, it's not the police, and it's not the people who are doing legal stuff. I mean, let's not forget that one point. The person responsible for the theft is the person who doesn't have the conscience or is too lazy or too opportunistic to go out and buy their own stuff. When I used to ask people who come in front of me, how come you steal? And they say to me, I don't know. I said, well, let me tell you why. Because it's more easy than working. We can do a better job. How many of you back in the day got one of those bars that you put across your steering wheel so people cannot steal your car? Anybody? Anybody buy them? Was it just me? Okay. No, but you guys got them. And the reason I got them, I was living in Honolulu, and my cousin said to me, you should buy one of those. I said, why? Because they're going to steal the other car next to you. In other words, it's too much work to try to steal your car. So they're going to look for some place where it's an easier take. Some of you, whether you're living in a home now or you've lived in a home before, whatever, you put up gates, you buy cameras, you put locks, you buy dogs, or you own dogs, get like 4 here tonight, right? That's your alarm system. When I rebuilt my house in 2010, I live in Kahului. I already had dogs, and those dogs were chained to my wood pile in my front yard every night. No worry, it wasn't inhumane. They had their house, they had everything else. We're going to try to find something, maybe a council member, we can work together. Try to see if we can put up one container, one 20-foot container in somebody's neighborhood where you guys can store your stuff at night, lock them up. As the homeowners, as the landowners, you're right. By the time you call police, it's after the crime. The police officer not going to stand outside your property, wait for somebody to come steal. You know why? Because nobody going to come steal while a police officer is standing out in front of your house. We don't have enough police officers to put in front of everybody's house. So what can we do? As the community, what can we do? Can we put cameras? Can we put up our dogs? Can we do something to make it difficult for those folks who can try to look for the most opportune place to steal? I don't have all the answers. I was on the other end of this by the time they got caught and they got dragged in front of me. But I can tell you the thing they all had in common. They took advantage of a situation that they saw they thought was an easy fix. As I said the last time we spoke, and I know Jeremy's already gone, but we're going to try to put legislation to make that a harsher penalty for someone who steals under these circumstances. But that's all after the fact again. What can we do for prevention? What can we do as neighborhoods to help each other? I know some folks that have put on cameras, night cameras and stuff, so they can try to at least catch the person doing it. Maybe you guys have intel in your community. Maybe there's chatter going around. Everybody heard something, know something, see the same truck, know the guys. You can pass that on. I didn't want to end on that somber note, but I just did want to say, let's work on this together as a group. We'll see what we can do on our end. All right, everybody, have a good night. Thank you.